Hi, welcome once again to our Wednesday edition, Conflict Resolution and Problem Solving. My name is Shade Watson. How are you doing today? So today I would like to discuss some stuff with you, but we will be doing more of, this is where you need to take your pen and your pencil, your notes, Google Notes, everything so you can jot down your information and see if you can actually respond to these things. You can put it on your Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and give us the feedback, as much feedback as you can. Be honest with yourself is what today is about. So before we start, I want to ask you some questions, just little icebreakers, 3 questions to get you thinking about you and how you see things. So the first question is, what songs do you like? Sounds. So things that you hear. It could be, for me, sometimes sleeping at night, I like to hear white noise because it kind of helps sleeping, or the fan, because if the fan off, I will be getting up. Sometimes I like to hear the birds chirping and silence at times. So this question is for you. If you're sitting down someplace, what songs do you like? Jot it down. Note it. I know some person who once told me they like to hear the sound of the saw going into wood because they like to work with wood. So that means like if something is going on. So for you, if it is you like to hear the games playing, you like to hear people cheering you on, if you are a racer, whatever it is, what do you like in terms of sounding? Next question. What makes you feel brave? What makes you feel that you could take on this challenge? You could handle this task. You could pass this project. You could pass this exam. What makes you feel that? Is it sometimes you get a feeling? Because sometimes I get a feeling where I feel so motivated and pepped up. I got all this energy, like I can handle anything that comes my way. Is it that you need to hear some person say you got this? Is that you need to watch a motivational video? Is it that you need to play a certain song to help you feel brave? Do you need to breathe? You think about it. You write it down. Put it in the comment section. What makes you feel brave? And the last question, how would you design a tree house? I think for me, I will go extra and beyond with a tree house. Some people want it very simple, just got the ladder, just have a base platform for you to sit down in. I want windows. I want to make sure that I have a bed area for me to lay down, an area for me to stack my books, include a little TV in there. How would you design your treehouse? Okay, so before we go on to what we were talking about today, I want to recap everything with you. We talked about conflict resolution, problem solving. We talked about the effects behind it, the good and the bad. We talked about managing conflict. What does that look like? Where we mentioned that some people, they kind of avoid, some people go head in and you go and confront and you say as whatever it is you have to say. Some people shrug their shoulders. We talk about different ways to communicate, where we said that depending on what the message is and your perception, where we said how you feel, how you see, how you hear, your environment makes you gather information differently. When we said that some people, depending on how the message is sent, how the message is received, if you text, we said some can be indirect and non-direct. We said that people can message on status, where you can be telling some person something directly, you want to tell them this, and still make it seem as if, oh, this is not for you, this is just a general thing that I am discussing. You know anybody that does that? Do you do that? So those are the things we covered in terms of conflict, where we said conflict happens often. We cannot avoid a conflict. It is important in how we solve them. And these techniques that we have been covering for the past weeks are different ways to look, get educated about conflict, get educated about you, the individual, and then ways on how you can actually solve them compared to how you were solving them before. So today we are talking about facts, feelings, and opinions. Facts, feelings, and opinions. Now you mentioned feelings. Feelings were discussed from week 1. In every session, we talked about emotions. What is important now is understanding your thoughts and facts when it comes to a disagreement, because we kind of get these things mixed up when we tell some person they're wrong. Most of the times it is based off of how we see it and not something that's an actual fact. So my question, fact, opinion, or feeling? You tell me which one these are. The sun is hot. The sun is hot. Is that a fact? Is that a feeling? Is that an opinion? Write it down. Note it. Put it in the comment section. Man United is the best football team. I believe that. Is that a fact? Is that a feeling? Is that an opinion? And for some people, they love chocolate. Is that a fact? Is that a feeling? Is that an opinion? Have you used facts, feelings, and opinions in your disagreements, and how do you use them? That's what we're going to discuss. That's what we're going to cover. That's what we're going to reflect on this week. So today. So I want you to imagine something. I give them some brand names as my little makeup story. But let's go with this story. On to the next slide. Jordan and Nike are friends. They both like the same girl, Prada. Jordan decided to ask Prada out. Nike gets angry at him and ended the friendship. You know anything that happened like that to you? Have you ever watched something like that? Read a book? Something similar? What are the facts about this scenario? So for this part of today, I want to see how you see facts, how you see feelings, how you see opinions before I give my little feedback. So what are the facts? I'm going to read it again. Jordan and Nike are friends, best of buds. They both like the same girls. This girl called Prada. Go to school with them. She's very cool, very friendly, very nice. Jordan decided to ask Prada out. He beat Nike. He decided to ask. He was bold. He was brave. And Nike gets angry at him and ended the friendship. What are the facts about this scenario? What are your feelings about this situation? Have you been in a situation similar to this? Do you not like situations that happen like this? Because remember, we talked about your perception, how you see things are important. What feelings were displayed in this scenario? What emotions can you see directly in the words and indirectly within this scenario? And what are your opinions? How would you solve this situation? What would you say about this if some person had to come and tell you about Jordan, Nike, and Prada? What would you say? Give you a minute. And we're going to go on to the next slide. I want you again to imagine you worked extremely hard for a science project, especially knowing that you do not like science, don't like it at all. This is the first time you felt accomplished and excited in believing you will get an A. The marks came out and your project was given back to you with a D. You get a D after thinking you get an A. The teacher said, poorly done. You believed you deserve more and asked the teacher about the grade to be told it seemed rushed, poorly organized, and you seem uncertain about the main topic. What are the facts in this scenario? What are the feelings displayed? What are you feeling as I read this? Have you been in a similar situation? It does not have to be about a project. It could be anything. It could be the teacher asked a question in class and you raised your hand and you were ignored after being excited that you got the answer. And then some of you answer questions where you think you're right and then you're told you are wrong. How would you feel? What is your opinion about the situation? If you were in it and if you were out of it, hearing it from some person. Those are also things to consider. I give you a bit. Okay, next slide. Fun facts. So I read this today and I was like, what? The shortest war in history lasted for 38 minutes. 38 minutes. It's called the Anglo-Zanzibar War. So this is something that I want you to go and research. Go on Google, shortest war in history. War lasted for 38 minutes. Get some information from it. You can go and Google it or you can YouTube it and watch a very short video. Learn something about this because this is a fact. Question, what will make a war last so short? Because wars usually last years. And the next fun fact is, a tsunami can travel as fast as a jet plane. So growing up for me, the jet plane was Concorde. And Concorde was like real fast, very fast plane. So for me, I kind of understood how quickly a tsunami goes based off of comparing it to the Concorde. You can look at the Navy jets and everything to see how fast they go so you can have an understanding of how fast a tsunami goes. But again, Google this, YouTube this, make sure that my fun facts are correct because we want to make sure they are factual, they are true, they are real. Right? So, what are facts? On to the next slide. A fact is something that is always true. Facts can be proven. We can find them by doing research. So, usually in an argument, we tend to hear something coming to us, and because of how we feel, what we're thinking, we tend to argue something that we believe is factual. So, going back to all of those questions I asked before, what were the facts? Do you consider facts when you are in a disagreement? And next, what is an opinion? An opinion is your perception. Remember, this word get used every week. What is your perception? How do you think? How do you feel? This is an opinion. Just remember these things. So when I asked you all those questions earlier, what was the opinion? What was your opinion in this, depending on the imagination and the story that we talked about? And the next slide, when In a conflict, this is where you will be reflecting. Do you look at the facts? So this now is in this reflection is where you will ask yourself, when do I do this? When do I consider facts? When some person is telling me something that I believe is foolishness. When do I consider facts? When a teacher is telling me what I believe is correct, that it is wrong. When do I consider facts? When my mother or my parents is telling me to do something at this moment when I don't feel like doing it. When, how, and why. So I'll leave it quickly there for just a little bit. You jot it in the comments, you write it down. When do you consider facts? How do you consider to take a situation and say, well, let me look at the facts? And why? Why should I look at the facts? Are these important? Next, looking at your feelings. So when in conflict, how often do you look at your feelings? Why should you consider your feelings? When do you consider your feelings? So remember I talked about avoidance and how a person uses avoidance because they want peace. Remember we talked about high assertiveness and high cooperativeness. When do we consider our feelings when we are using those things? My desire to win or the other person's desire to win? How can I consider my feelings and the other person's feelings? And why? And the last one, when you are in conflict, do you consider your opinion? Do you know when it is an opinion compared to when it's a fact? How? When do you make sure your opinion is put into there? There's somebody coming to tell me the truth. Tell me the truth about this. Tell me what you think. And do you tell the person what you think, or do you tell the person what you think they want to hear? Do you share your opinion? I disagree with that. I agree with that. Is it always your opinion in every conflict, in every problem? Is it always how you are seeing it? Write it down. So I want you to remember, as you get into any disagreement, as you consider anything right now, we do research. We make sure these things are facts. If you do not have the research, which is a credible source from a book, you actually go and you look and you compare together and you realize this is what is coming up. If you don't have that, try not to argue something and say this is the fact. Be aware of your opinions, how you are seeing something, how you feel about it. Because remember, I'm going to merge everything we talked about. Remember, within a conversation, whatever is sent to you, you receive it based off of how you see it, how you view it, which is depending on the environment that you are in. So if your surroundings, you got all your friends rallying you up and you feeling hype and pumped up to do what is considered the wrong thing, you just might. If some person told you something that you do not like, depending on your environment, that can cause you to make a good decision or a bad decision. You receive the information in a good way or a bad way, depending on who is around you. Depending on how you were raised, you can receive an information different from how I will receive an information. Because we come up in two different households, two different neighborhoods, two different environments, two different family settings. So when we are faced with these differences, these clashes, these opposing views, these conflicts, It is good to pause. So remember I mentioned pausing. Pause. Is this a fact that is coming at me? Do I need to respond to this in my opinion or as a fact? Do I need to respond at all? Do I need to consider my feelings and go with how I feel or acknowledge how I feel and pause again? Because I am going based off of my feeling doesn't mean that it is always right. We tell people follow your gut feelings, follow your intuition, and that's good. But before you make a decision, that is just one area to consider, how you feel. This is one. We looked at facts and opinions as another. Earlier we looked at the environment. We looked at how is the message sent. Who sent the message can also interfere with how you receive the message. We looked at, are we looking to have my desire please or the other person's desire please, or we think we could try to meet halfway and give and take. We talked about considering your viewpoint, remembering that your viewpoint leads so much of conflict. Your viewpoint impacts on how you make your decisions. So just remember those. You go with these and we'll see how it goes. Test me and say, Shadi, I tried this. Put it in the comments. Shadi, I tried this and I did not get through. Shadi, I tried this and it worked. Remember, we talked about coping, breathe, try exercising, do some yoga, journal how you feel. You don't have to say their diary. You don't have to say, today I did this. You just, this is what happened. This situation happened. This is how I felt. This is what I was thinking. This is how I behaved. This was the consequences. These were the outcomes, whether it's something good or bad. What did I learn from this situation? And as I reflect and I look back and as I'm writing, what are the facts? What are my feelings? What are my opinions? And could I have made this situation play out better if I had considered facts, feelings, and opinions? So that's all for today. Next week will be our last week. Come prepared as we say goodbye for this term at this moment. And we will go through everything once again. I may do it from a storyline, I'm not sure. We'll go through everything once again so that at the end of the session, you can say, what conflict is, what conflict resolution, what problem solving, what is a problem, what is perception, how I deal with things, how I think, how I feel, and techniques on how to manage. See you then. Bye.